Hi everybody, this is Francis and this is another episode of Bionic Talk. Hey everybody, this is Francis and today's another episode of Bionic Talk, and today I'd like to talk about excuses. Okay, so I've always believed that people have two of everything, excuses and buttholes. And they're both full of crap. Okay, so now I've been asked many times, like, oh, do any of my nephews or nieces or my grandnieces and grandnephews practice Filipino martial arts? I say no, and they're really surprised by that. And I tell them, like, well, if they want to learn FMA, I'm right here. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. But they don't, so I'm not going to force it. And that's pretty much my outlook as far as anybody who wants to try FMA or not. I don't really want to force it on anybody. If they want to, I'm right here. If they don't, well, go look for somebody. Go do something else, right? But I do hear a lot of the excuses as to why they don't, and I like to talk about some of those excuses. So one of the most common excuses that I get is this: I'm too old to do Filipino martial arts. Somebody once talked to me about that, just not that long ago, less than a year ago. They were saying to me, like, oh, I'm too old. And I asked them how old they were. They said, I'm nearly 40. And I laughed because I told them I was 42. And I always get that a lot. Or like, oh, you don't look 42. Well, I am. Many times I have to even show people my ID just to prove it. And I'm like, why would I lie about that? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, so they said that they're too old. Now, the reason why I think that that's a ridiculous excuse is because, one, Filipino martial arts, I think, is really great for people who have traveled around the sun a few more times than most people. Why is that? Because because it's less impact. When you're hitting people, when you're hitting things with a stick first, the direct impact when you're striking is with the stick first instead of the body. So if I was doing boxing and if I was to punch as a striker, the impact is also on my hands. So of course there's impact for the person getting hit, but that's true for anything. But for the person striking, there's still some impact on them as well. So there's a lot more wear and tear on the body, especially if you're doing grappling techniques like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's a lot of impact on the body because it's on the ground, and it's a joint manipulation. So there's a lot of impact on the striker. Same thing with judo, of course. There's a lot of throws and a lot of hip action. So there's a lot of impact on the body, wear and tear on the body. But with Filipino martial arts, when you're hitting things with a stick, the direct impact first is on the stick instead of your body. So there's wear and tear? Of course, and like in everything, there's always wear and tear, but there's less of it in Filipino martial arts. That's why you see a lot of older people who've traveled around the sun a couple more times, practice Filipino martial arts because it is less of an impact. Second, I think it is more important because, one, especially if you're somebody who walks around with a cane already. Now, if you notice, I didn't say that you have to be old to be walking around with a cane. You might be a pimp and you have a pimp cane. Who knows? But having a weapon is a great equalizer. Having a tool in your hand is a great equalizer. So it changes the psyche of the attacker. If somebody was to attack you and decide to strike you with the strike to fight you, and then they see you with a cane or something in your hands, it changes their mind. They're like, whoa, never mind. There's something that changes within a person's psyche when they see somebody with a weapon. It makes them feel like, I'm not going to go fight them. So that's an important aspect as to why you should do Filipino martial arts, because the weapon is a great equalizer. The other excuse that I get is just that I don't have time. Well, let me just say this. We all have the same 24 hours. I'm getting a lot of text messages. We all have the same 24 hours, okay? You and I have the exact same 24 hours. And there's a lot of things that we want to do if we have time for something. But there's something that we want to do, and there's something that we really want to do, and there's something that we really need to do, okay? What we really need to do, we need to make sure we provide for our family, put a roof over our heads, put food on the table, and clothes on our back. Those are the things that we need to do to make that a possibility. And there's something, but then I think what falls into that category as well is that we need to be able to defend ourselves. Okay, now heaven forbid that you never have to use it, but I've always grown up with the thinking it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So now, heaven forbid, if somebody was to attack you and you can't defend yourself, what are you going to do? And even more, scarier than that would be if somebody was to attack your children. Are you ready to defend them? Are you ready to defend your loved one? This is why FMA or training in any martial arts is really crucial, even though it is time consuming. Okay, it is very important that you be able to defend yourself. Now, again, I hope you never use it. I hope you never need it. But what if you do? That's the great question. So tell me again. We all have, like I said, we all have the same 24 hours a day. We need to learn how to prioritize what we feel, what we think is what we want, what we really want, and what we really need. Okay, and in my opinion, learning to defend yourself and your loved one falls in the really need category. But that's just my thing. Also, when you're training with, I can't speak this for every school, but at least in the school that I teach at FMA school, I create an environment where it's not like you have to go to class and it's a chore, but I like to create an environment where people feel like, oh man, I don't want to go to training, it's another workout. No, I want people to feel like, man, I'm going to hang out with my brothers and sisters. I get to hang out with my buddies, right? And we get to learn FMA. We get to laugh. I make sure that we tell jokes, we laugh, we have a great time together, because I don't want this to be a chore. I want people to have a wonderful time doing this. So that's why I think it's important to create that environment. There's something intrinsically valuable when you train with somebody, when you bleed with them, when you sweat with them. There's a value to that. There's a connectivity that you have with your brothers and sisters that shows that, hey man, this is really amazing. This is a camaraderie that is built over hard work. And then only people who do this will only understand, and the people who don't will never understand that. So that's why it's important for you to put this in the need category, because now it's a place for you to have a positive outlet for your negative energy, right? Because you're training, and you're there with your buddies, you're there with your friends, and you're doing things to make yourself better in many respects. So those are the most common excuses that I get as to why people shouldn't train in Filipino martial arts. I don't know. Have you guys heard of any other excuses? Please comment down below. And if you have any, like, do you agree with this or you don't agree with this? Comment down below. Okay, so now also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this channel, and don't forget that notification button so you can be alerted immediately as soon as we release a new content. Until then, my name is Francis, and this is another episode of Bayani Talk. Peace out, God bless, and keep swinging them sticks.